Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, and today we're going to talk about beam readers. And you guys asked me to report back on beam readers. I've actually had quite a few of you. A lot of you have CBCTs. So let's talk a little bit about that, how that works specifically with ortho and how it works with those harder cases or even cases with pathology. So remember, if you're taking a CBCT for whatever reason, you are responsible. As far as I know, you can check with your liability insurance and you can check with your own Dental Practice Act in your own state or country. But as far as I know, if you are taking a CBCT, you're responsible to have either you need to read it, even if you're only looking at one area, say for an implant for number 14. If you take a full CBCT of the whole area, every area that you image, you are responsible for interpreting. So if you don't know how to interpret it, you need to upload that image and have somebody interpret it for you, okay? Because if there's some pathology at another site and you don't report on that or you don't notice it, you are liable. So that is my understanding. If you're not sure, like I said, check that out. So for ortho, you've seen some of my other reports, whether it's like a supernumerary tooth or an impacted canine or some random strange pathology that shows up. For ortho, same thing goes. You do not want to start moving teeth unless you're sure that you're in the clear to move those teeth, okay? And especially if you're doing braces, because you have no control in braces as to how things move. With Invisalign, now that you can upload the CBCT, you have a little more control, although I find that it's not great, for things like pathology, that's not going to show up. Supernumerary teeth, that doesn't show up very well. It's okay for like impacted third molars and stuff like that, but everything else, it's not great. So, and remember, it's relying on AI and stuff. It's a new function. I still would rather that you get that report officially read. I want the all clear from the dental license OMR or a maxillofacial radiologist to tell you, yes, it is okay for you to treat even though there's a supernumerary, or yes, it's okay for you to treat even though there's an odontoma in that area, or yes, it's okay for you to treat even though there's some condensing osteitis around that area, but it's okay, you can go ahead and move the teeth. You want to have that in writing from the OMR, and let me clarify, not all of these reading services are US licensed. It is critical that you, again, check with your liability insurance. You must have a US license if you're in the US. If you're in Canada, you must have a Canadian licensed one. If you're in Australia, you need to have an Australian licensed one, because if and when something goes wrong, something heads south, and you just said, oh, I got this report from this guy who's in Pakistan, that's not going to count. You now liable. Now it's different if some guy who's in your state or your country of licensure signs off, say it is fine for you to go ahead and treat with that supernumerary or that pathology or that odontoma or that condensing osteitis, you're okay. That person is more specialized than you than that area. They did an official report. They said it was okay. Something happens, it's on them. It's not on you. So, and I see this stuff all the time. You wouldn't believe how many people just start treating, saying, oh, I think it's okay. So anyways, so that's the underlying idea. And I know the price point is, in the 100-ish range. And they kind of asked me, I talked to the team at Beam Readers today, and I agreed that I wasn't going to give exact prices just because when I make these, they may raise their prices. And they said there's, special circumstances depending on the situation that might be a little bit less, also depending on your volume, could be less, could be more. So it's an ish thing. But, I want this video to be able to live on for a few years. So just give you some idea of some of the stuff they do. So basically they do have volume discounts, but they have two major buckets of reading. So one of them is what they call an image technician or an image portfolio. So this isn't an OMR or not a dentist reading it. It's just an image technician giving you what you need. So you can do this with, if you upload, a CBCT where the field is big enough, and let's say you need a Ceph slice, they can take a Ceph slice out of it. And from the Ceph slice, they can turn it into a Ceph. And that price point is more than 50, less than 100. Let's put it that way. And it takes a few days. If you need it faster within a day, there's a rush charge. It's still less than 100, unless you have volume. But it's definitely more than your Ceph. It's definitely more than I've been sending a lot of them to like Ollendorf, stuff like that. It's definitely more. Okay. So, but it is what it is. So you don't have to purchase a bundle or anything like that. And if you do volume, the price goes down. So that is the image portfolio, okay? So again, and they said, it is somewhat negotiable depending on volume. So that's the image portfolio, image technician. You can either upload a whole CBCT and get a Ceph slice, or you can upload, if you just have a 2D Ceph, you can just upload that and have them get, whatever type of Ceph analysis you want. Takes a few days, price point more than 50, less than 100. Okay. So the other thing is what I was talking about, where the OMR, the licensed OMR. So they're going to a couple years of residency after dental school. They have 60 OMRs on staff to date when I published this. And the price point to have that the actual report done on pathology, or the question is, can I move this tooth in this area, or I see some type of strange thing in the bone, what is it, whether it's ortho related or not, is going to be 100-ish, 100 plus would be in there. They said that there's 5 states where you have to have someone specific in that state, but the other 45 states is it doesn't matter. So it depends on, they keep an eye on the Dental Practice Act and how it works. But anyways, regardless what state in, you're covered, is what they're getting at. And same thing with Canada. So they cover Canada, and then they cover the United States, all 50 states. So in some ways it almost works like direct-to-consumer aligners. I mean, just that's what I'm familiar with, where there was one, so many doctors in each state and everything like that. I'm not saying this is direct-to-consumer, because it's not, but it's actually, but in terms of like, there is someone licensed in your state, at least one person that will do your reading, and it takes a few days for them to go ahead and write up that report, giving you the okay to go ahead and do whatever, or to read for pathology. And they do lots of other things that are not related to orthodontics, so you can ask them what they do. But this is the stuff that I'm interested in. So yeah, I strongly recommend that you check them out. I get no compensation. There's no affiliate link, anything like that. I just thought, hey, it looks like a cool service. I've seen some of their reports. I have a lot of doctors that are already using it. And I was like, this is really well done. Before, I used to always send the patient, because we didn't have a CBCT way back when. So we would send our patients to, just the OMFS, and then they would read it. And they're pretty good at it, but that always took a lot of time. So if you have the technology, you can knock this out in a few days and get your answer ASAP. Can I go ahead and start the case? Is it okay for me to distalize? Is this pathology something that's concerning that needs a biopsy, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, check them out, Beam Readers. All right, thanks so much.